giant castle has one big message to portray. It is that the English are winning the Welsh, and you lot better stop protesting. Hello, I'm Kate Williams, and today we're going to be talking about Conwy Castle. It's 1401. Henry Bolingbroke has taken the throne of England as Henry IV, and rebellion is in the air. Rebellion is in the air from Wales. They don't want to be ruled by England anymore. And what happens is, two cousins of the great Owen Glyndwr go into Conwy Castle disguised as carpenters. It always needs maintenance men. They go in and they stage a mass takeover from inside Conwy Castle, the most daring ambition, the most daring mission. Outside, 400 of their other soldiers take over the town of Conwy. They seize the whole castle and town, key strategic place in Wales. And this is all part of Owen Glyndwr's campaign to take back Wales from English control. By 1404, the English have got Conwy Castle back, and in 1415, Owen Glyndwr dies. But it has to be said, he's never captured, he's never betrayed, even though there's a massive price on his head. I love Conwy. My family are from the Conwy Valley, so it was the castle I most visited growing up. And I'm a big train fan, and in the United Kingdom, two of my favourite train journeys are one, when you head out of Paddington towards Devon and Cornwall, and the entire train line next to you opens up into seaside, into the coast, and my other is Conwy, because you get the train heading past Conwy and you basically go around the castle. So the castle's above you from the train, and you really feel like you're there in the 13th century, trundling around the castle in your cart, and it's there above you. And the giant castle has one big message to portray. It is that the English are winning the Welsh, and you lot better stop protesting. Conwy Castle goes down to 1283 when Edward I decides to put down the rebellious Welsh once and for all. His plan, he goes back to the strategy of William the Conqueror, of building castles to tell everyone what's what. So Edward I wants to build castles around Wales to act, essentially, what they're called is the Ring of Iron, to act as a Ring of Iron to really bring Wales to heel. And Conwy is just one of them. Now, Conwy has a key strategic position because it's right on the Conwy River, which goes out to the sea. And actually, its name in Old Welsh goes back to Cyn, which is chief, and Gwir, which is water, so chief of the water, Cyn Gwir. And Edward builds 10 castles in North Wales that he thinks are going to control the country. Aberystwyth Castle, Builth Castle, Carnarvon Castle, Conwy Castle, Denbigh Castle, Flint Castle, Harlech Castle, Hawarden Castle, or Penarleg in Welsh, and Rhuddlan Castle. And also there's the unfinished Beaumaris Castle on the Isle of Anglesey. Edward's building campaign across Wales of castles cost him just under £200,000, and that is the equivalent of around £150 million. This is what he was spending. He spent it on craftsmen, he spent it on stone, he spent it on workmen. The workmen used to gather in Chester and then walk over. And he actually brought over an architect and a mason from Savoy in France, James St George, the great architect. He created some beautiful castles in Wales, and when Edward heard about this, he wanted him. So we see in history plenty of spendthrift monarchs spending huge amounts of money, but they usually spend it on their own palaces. Here is Edward spending incredible sums of money on trying to make sure the Welsh stop rebelling by imposing these gigantic castles. And Edward, at the same time, also builds a city wall. So what you have is an English ruled castle and an English ruled town. So Conwy Castle, near the end of the 13th century, it's finished. But what does it look like? If you're a Welsh person, you've seen it being built, what's it like inside and outside? Well, what we often forget is what bustling places castles were. We often see them and think, well, there's still this giant ruined little family here. But they were, it was essentially the equivalent of a 13th century shopping mall. You have two parts of the castle. There's the outer ward and the inner ward. So when you go in, there's the barbican at the front, and the barbican is essentially a fortified gatehouse. And this is very much modelled on the French style. And in you go into the castle. And in the outer ward, there are all these shops and service industries, all the places to serve the castle. So you'd have the blacksmith there, you'd have the baker there, you'd have the workman there. And this, I think, is how those cousins of Owen Glendower managed to get in, because there's so many workmen going in and out the whole time, wandering in and out, taking things, going to the workshops, that everyone's just like, okay, in you go. And that's how they managed to sneak in unseen. So the outside is quite free, people are coming and going, and it really is a very busy place. It's like a mini village inside the castle. You've also got the King's Great Hall there where he dines, and you've got the dungeon where they put the prisoners. And then you've got the inner ward, and inside that is the secret area of the palace. Inside the inner ward, these inner walls, is the royal apartments. That's where the royal family would stay. It's both for privacy and also security. So the castle is built for double security. You've got those gigantic outside walls that are fortified, that can be defended. And also then you've got the inner walls. So even if people get through the outside walls, the inner walls are the secret bits, and that's where the royal family can retire. They lock themselves up. The whole principle is they can be self-sufficient there. They've got a secret exit going out towards the river. And that's how the castle works, that the outside is bustling, it's full of people. The inside is the bit where the royal family strategically hide themselves. Conwy Castle was Edward I's big show, but he never really lived there, and it was really a castle for the 13th and 14th centuries. By the two times, it wasn't really used in the same way. It became a royalist stronghold in the Civil War, and then by the 18th century, it's become really a ruin, and the Romantics travel there. The Romantics travel there in the 18th and 19th century, seeing it as this big, beautiful romantic ruin, very inspiring, full of sublime ideas. And I love the fact that Conwy Castle becomes this romantic ruin full of artists and poets, because that would really have annoyed Edward I. He built it as this majestic, massive message. Don't mess with me. And now it's being focused with, it's beautiful. Here's my vision. Here's my images. I really like that.